Hello and welcome or welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today we're gonna have a little chat. Originally I was gonna do a book review. I didn't finish the book and there have been some things on Twitter that I noticed and I just wanted to address them. So for those of you who don't know, I was originally a book blogger. I started blogging in 2015. I hit a slump somewhere around 2018, 2019 and I just wasn't really feeling it anymore. And recently I was thinking about revitalizing my blog and instead I somehow ended up on YouTube. I don't really know, but here we are. But in doing that, I restarted my Bookstagram and I rejoined Twitter for the first time since I was in college. I graduated from undergrad in 2016. So what I've noticed in the few months that I've been back on Twitter is that it is full of drama, particularly in book Twitter, which I don't understand. Most of us are either nerds and or introverts who like to be alone so that we can spend time in fictional worlds and with fictional characters. What are we arguing about, people? But anyway, there are just a few things that I wanted to address today, certain things that I've noticed that I just feel like nobody's really talking about. The first thing is not something that I should have to say, but here we are. Everybody doesn't have to like the same books. I don't know who needed to hear that, but apparently somebody did. Just because you really, really love a certain book or an author does not mean that everybody else in the book community is going to feel the same way, and that's okay. That is the beauty of communities like this. You get to hear different opinions and voices and experiences. For people to go out of their way and leave a negative impact on somebody's page just because they didn't like the same book, that's childish. Like, seriously, come on. So what if the book is popular? So what if it's one of your favorites? Just because someone else doesn't like it doesn't give you the right to go out of your way to leave negativity on their page, whether it's in the comments, giving them a thumb down, whatever the case may be. If you want to engage with them, have a conversation, talk about the things that they didn't like, and maybe you interpreted them a different way and share that with them, but don't be an asshole. Another thing that I want to address that is not talked about super often is something that I don't really care about in terms of myself, but I've seen other creators who I'm friends with and who I care about talk about it and kind of vent about their frustration. So I just want to sort of bring the issue to light because I don't think people really realize what's going on. If you'll remember from my BookTube newbie tag, I said immediately that I was not here for a certain amount of subscribers and whatever, because at the end of the day, I don't feel like that's a realistic goal for me, and I'll get into that in a minute. But on top of that, if I had to choose between 50 subscribers and half of them really engage with me and we have conversations and I can recommend things to them, they recommend them to me, we talk off of YouTube, then I'm going to appreciate that more than having 500 or 5,000 subscribers where there's no interaction and no community. But back to the other thing. I didn't want to make that a goal of mine because I didn't feel like it was realistic, because the fact of the matter is it is harder for creators of color to reach certain milestones than it is for white creators. Sure, that may not apply to everyone, but if you look at the big picture and all of the creators, specifically in BookTube, and how their engagement and subscriptions go, there's a pattern there. And to be honest, with everything going on this year, a bunch of Black booktubers blew up around March and April in direct result to the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that was going on in America. My issue with that is that it shouldn't take a national uprising in the middle of a pandemic for you to realize, oh, I don't follow any Black creators. Maybe I should do something about that. It should not take national uprising in order for people to want to support BIPOC creators. So while I think it's great that so many creators of color got publicity and recognition during that time, the fact that that's what it stemmed from doesn't sit right with me. And on top of that, after a few months when all of the hype died down, a bunch of those people ended up unsubscribing them. So these creators are seeing a huge rise in their subscribers and then it's dropping. And then it's like, well, what was the point in the first place? And like I said, I don't care about that for me specifically because quite frankly, I do this for me. I think it's fun, I enjoy it, I'm not doing it to gain a following or whatever. Plus, I know I have a lot of unpopular opinions. A lot of people aren't gonna like my content because they don't wanna hear the things that I have to say. That's fine. But when you have other creators who are busting their ass, putting out 3 videos a week, and really giving fantastic content compared to someone who has 16K but is only putting out maybe one video a month. That's frustrating because you have people who are working their asses off and just not getting the recognition that they deserve. The next thing is something that I think is pretty specific to BookTube in general, and it's the amount of books that you read in a week, a month, a year, whatever. At the end of the day, if you read one book for the entire year, congratulations, because you still read something. Being on BookTube does not mean that you have to read 100 books a month to be good. That's not how it works. Everyone is different. Everyone has different things going on. Everybody reads at a different pace. And just because you're someone that talks about books on the internet does not mean that you're required to read a certain amount of books every month. You're not. You can read at your own pace. You can read however many you feel like reading. And let's be honest, reading slumps are real. Sometimes you just don't have the energy, you don't care enough to pick up a book. It literally happens to all of us. Also, I don't know who tried to come up with the rule that audiobooks were not real books. They are. Audiobooks count as reading. Also, that mindset is pretty ableist. So whether you're reading ebooks, physical books, listening to audiobooks, it does not matter. All of it counts. Also, let's keep in mind, we are still recovering from a global pandemic. Reading probably isn't a lot of people's priority right now, especially considering all of the mental ramifications that have come with it, including isolation and just having your entire world flipped upside down. Nobody's going to shame you for the amount of books you didn't read in 2020, and if they do, fuck them. This next thing is one of my biggest pet peeves. It's something that I noticed even before I started my own booktube, when I was watching other booktubers, and occasionally when I was blogging. It doesn't matter if it's because of work, school, family, life. Do not apologize for prioritizing your physical and mental health. If you need to take time off for a year because you just aren't in a space to create content, so be it, but do not apologize for it. It doesn't matter if BookTube is your full-time job. You are still allowed to take sick days and take time off for yourself. I work full-time, I'm in school, I'm allowed sick days, personal days, bereavement time. If you are going through something, you do not need to worry about putting out content. And when you come back from whatever it is that you needed to do not apologize to your followers and subscribers. If they care about you as much as they care about your content, which they should, they will understand and they will not be looking for an apology. I don't care who you are, how many subscribers you have, how big your following is. If you need time off, take it. This last part is just a message to other small creators in particular. No matter where you are right now and where you want to be, stick to doing your own thing. Do not feel like you need to start putting out more content in order to get more recognition. And do not let people who have different opinions from you make you feel like your content isn't enough because you didn't agree with them. Stick to what you want to do. I already know I have a lot of unpopular opinions. Everybody's not gonna like my content. That is totally fine with me because I don't really care about other people's opinions. I appreciate the people who engage with me and have conversations and send me recommendations. And if somebody disagrees, I fully encourage them to start a conversation, so let's talk about where we're coming from. But if you're mad because I called out one of your favorite authors as problematic and presented facts, or because I said it in like a popular series because it's too tropey, so be it. If you're gonna unsubscribe from me and give me a thumbs down, which somebody already has, I don't really care because my opinion was honest and I'm going to keep giving it. Don't feel like you have to purchase certain books just because they're popular among the book community, especially if you're not interested in it. If it's something that you are genuinely interested in, then go for it. I myself purchased When No One Is Watching because I heard so many great things about it. And honestly, I don't think that I would have known about that book if I was not into the book community. But that book was almost a 5-star read for me. It will definitely be one of my top reads of 2020. The books like A Deadly Education just don't intrigue me, so I'm probably not going to get them. If I can find them on maybe Libby and just listen to the audiobook, then sure, I might give it a try, but I'm not really anticipating being really interested in that book, so I'm not gonna bother. Also, Do not feel the need to jump onto certain bandwagons just because other people are doing them. Y'all will never see me do a reading vlog. I like watching them from other people. I just don't think everything that goes into filming one would be beneficial for me, so I'm not gonna do it, and that's okay. Just keep putting out the content that you want to put out and make sure that this is still a hobby and not a chore. So I say all that to say that it is okay for us to have different opinions. You should never be offended by somebody not liking something that you like. It's one thing to not like somebody's content so you don't subscribe to them. That's fine. It's another thing to go out of your way to leave negativity over a difference of opinion, a difference that is not harmful to anybody. If somebody's saying racist and homophobic and transphobic things, totally different. But you like the Mortal Instruments and I don't, who cares? So that is the gist of everything that I wanted to say. Basically, just be kind to people. Don't go out of your way to be a troll. Who has time for that? I mean, seriously, there's too much going on in the world to be worrying about that right now. Speaking of which, make sure y'all vote, okay? Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.